Welcome to Coffee Break with Jess. I am so excited to share this time with you. This is the intro episode for the podcast, and I wanted to just go over what Coffee Break with Jess is, who I am, and what you can expect from this podcast. This podcast is for when business and life start to get a bit much and a good old cup of coffee and reflection and fellowship begins to happen and it helps you get centered. Coffee breaks are more like therapy without the structure. As a business owner and a single mother, having the moment to savor my coffee, remove distractions, and focus are life and business saving. I receive the most clarity when I am enjoying my coffee, and instead of keeping what I have to myself, I want to make sure I help others who are walking around with a life of chaos, thinking there is no solitude and feel isolated. I invite you to come, sit, meet with me on Thursdays, have a cup of coffee, and refill with a new friend. I've felt alone so many times in my business that no one knew what I was going through, what I was struggling with. And one day I went to this coffee shop, and this lady that I never knew in my life, never met, sat next to me and said, "We will get through." I don't know if I had a face of defeat on that day or what, but her spirit man linked up with my spirit man and had coffee. It made me realize that I am not alone. I'm not the only one going through what I'm going through. And truth be told, no matter your situation, neither are you. One thing that entrepreneurs forget is your business was never supposed to be a burden. God didn't give it to you to do it all alone. But finding someone to understand what you're going through as a parent, entrepreneur, student is exhausting. I've had friends on this journey that I thought were here for the long haul. They were not. I've had friends who sabotaged and tried to get me to quit in their own ways because they didn't see themselves building where I wanted to go. And if they can't make it, then neither could I. And each time there was one thing that always took place, and it was always a period of isolation. And in that isolation, I thought I was healing. I thought I took that time to heal from what I had been through with them and getting myself on track when in all actuality, in my isolation, I got defeated. In my isolation, I got depressed. There is defeat in your isolation. There is no peace in your isolation. It will always be too much when you are in isolation. And the only way to get out of isolation is to find a person, a sister, a friend who is a true friend, who's been there, who is a trooper right along with you. You can call on at any time, and they are there to help you with your kid. You're there to help them, and they're there to help you. That is a relationship that is essential. Even finding other solopreneurs that may not be in your same city or state. They may be in another state. They may be in another country. Use your resources. We have so many resources. We got Facebook, we got Instagram. And instead of using it for just mindless scrolling, use it for something that could benefit your life and benefit your business. Get out of your isolation. And if you don't know where to start, I invite you to start here with me. I welcome you as a new friend. Hey girl, hey. I know how it feels. I also know how it feels to have somebody to talk to and build me up. So I want to be that for you. On this podcast, we'll talk about life, we'll talk about business, we'll talk about things that nobody wants to talk about. Just have a little coffee break with me, an emotional refill to keep going through the rest of the week, to keep going when your kids are screaming, to keep going when that invoice still isn't paid, to keep going when it feels like you can't keep going. Knowing somebody's being real and honest with you is the best tool to have in your business and in your life as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, as a mompreneur. So, meet me here each week. Let's put it in our calendars, and we're going to schedule a date to have coffee on Thursdays, our emotional refill, our emotional and business therapy session. And we're going to have a good big old glass of coffee, a cup of tea if you don't drink coffee. And let's crush these mountains that aren't really mountains, but they're molehills that can easily be conquered. But because of our isolation, they feel like mountains. They feel unachievable. It's time to change the way we think. It's time to address the things that we're dealing with. It's time. The new year, new decade is right around the corner. Let's not go into 2020 in isolation. Let's go into 2020 empowered. Let's go into 2020 focused. I invite you to come and hang with me on Thursdays. Each week, a new episode will be posted. So next week, you will get a new episode. You can subscribe on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and be able to hang out with me after a long day before your day starts, even on your lunch break. If you would like to view the show notes for each show, so any links that I have, any additional information can all be found on the show notes at justtechpreneur.com/coffee break. Here you can add in comments, you can give me feedback if there's a topic that touched you, that you understand, that you are looking for. Please reach out to me at hi@justtechpreneur.com or on the podcast show notes in the comment center. I hope to see you next week for our cup of coffee. Until then.